Hi everyone. So today Santhosh and I wanted to cover something you might be aware of by now. So there were some changes to the capital gain that were done by the federal government. As of today, March 24th, that bill's not been passed yet, but everything's indicating it's probably going through. So we figured we'd cover that out.
Yeah, so the first thing that I want to highlight is if you're a homeowner living in your primary residence, you still have your capital gains exemption, so you don't have to worry about that part. However,
it essentially changes nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't change much.
You still don't pay any tax on.
But where it changes is if you have a rental property. So if you have a rental and you have gains over $250,000, that excess amount that's over the $250,000 threshold is now going to be taxed at 67% instead of 50%, which is where it used to be.
67% of your capital gain will be taxable, right?
Exactly.
So that's a common misconception I think we see a lot is the capital gain used to be 50%, right? That's 50% of the income that goes to your tax at whatever marginal
your
rate.
Marginal tax rate.
Exactly. That you get. Like you don't pay that.
Yeah.
But essentially you'll pay that extra, right? From 50 to 60.
Exactly.
66 and 67.
Yeah. So that's kind of the first change. And if you're a corporation, so you're a professional firm or a corporation, or you're an individual who has assets within a corporation, you will be taxed instead of just the additional tax on the added portion over 250, you will actually be taxed 67% on the entire sum that you declare as capital gains.
Yeah, so if your capital gains 100K, you're still paying that 67%,
and that's on at your marginal tax rate, right? So I think it's important that most people understand that it's not 67% of the total amount that you're going to pay in tax. It's 67% is taxable at your marginal tax rate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's still a very preferential way to be taxed.
Yeah.
But it is unfortunate the federal government decided to go that route and increase that. But yeah, what's interesting now is that this is supposed to come in effect at the end of June.
Yeah.
So in terms of timeline, it's very short, but it's not active yet, right? So lots of people right now are wondering either like, should I sell now to try to avoid that, or is there going to be like, a ton of sellers trying to sell at the same time?
Listings,
yeah, and I think we were discussing that earlier. I mean, it's not a lot of time. So for anyone that was already in the process of selling, in most cases, I think they will try to expedite that sale, right? Like if you can cut a few weeks or even cut a month to save a few $1,000s, of course you're going to try to do it. But at the end of the day, if you were not planning on selling and you were not ready to sell and you're trying to do it today and get started in the process,
it wouldn't have changed much anyways.
It's going to be really hard to meet that timeline because you need to actually sell and
close
by the end of June. And it's not even the end of June, I think June 24th. Right? So it doesn't leave a lot of time. So we don't see that being a huge issue. And if it is, I think it will be a short-lived. Yeah, it might be a burst, at the end of June of sellers or.
And even that, I think with so much demand out there, I think if we have a surge of listings, it'll just get absorbed quickly because right now our total months of inventory is still under a month.
Yeah, it's under a month, and as soon as we're past that, it's going to be back to normal.
Exactly.
So, whatever normal is.
Whatever the new normal is now, right?
So exactly. So that's pretty much the new changes. Right? There's not a whole lot else to that. So there might be some changes actually. That's interesting, but that's something to discuss with an accountant. But there's ways to try to reduce that gain. There's potentially ways to transfer assets between personal ownership and corporation before you hit those thresholds. So it's something to discuss for sure. So if you have more questions about that, reach out. But we just wanted to give an update on the new rules.